we've been with Raise Green from the start, and we couldn't be happier with the experience we've had with Franz and the entire team in terms of helping us raise capital for our efforts in energy efficiency work. And when I listen to the previous presenters, I'm always impressed with the emphasis on technology and everything, that all these companies are doing to expand both new technologies and what I would consider better use of existing technologies. So where NEIF, the National Energy Improvement Fund, comes in is that we are focused on helping people pay for this stuff, right? Affordability is probably the single greatest concern about people either moving into renewable energy or improving the energy efficiency of their homes or businesses. And that's what NEIF is really based on. We have gone back just historically, just to give you some framework. We come from a family business. My family's business was started in the 40s, and called AFC first. In about 2000, I refocused the entire business into energy efficiency lending. And we started creating programs for states and utilities way back then. And some of the programs like Keystone Help in Pennsylvania with the Treasury Department and Connecticut Solar Leasing Program, all these are all programs that we created with program partners like states and utilities to ultimately increase affordability for the end consumer or business owner to make those improvements. Sold that company in 2015, and I was able to get my staff and team back together. Matthew Brown, my partner, whom many of you may know, who was really the creator of many of the most influential state programs across the country. Laura Nelson, my partner and COO, and much of our team is back together, and we formed the National Energy Improvement Fund in 2000, and effectively 18 is when we started to do a lot of the same stuff and really focus more on what we would call essential energy improvements and incremental improvements rather than radical change. We are incrementalists. I know that's how we think. Any little change is better than no change. And when you get down to a consumer or a business owner, the idea of what motivates a consumer, let's just drill down to the most basic line, is consumers don't want to make investments in energy efficiency or renewable energy. Maybe 5% are the early adapters, but most people are motivated when their heat pump blows or their furnace blows or they have a leak in their house. And that's what drives everything. And who makes those decisions for them? It's the contractor, right? When your furnace blows, what do? You call your contractor, and he comes and he tells you, or he or she comes and tells you what you do. So you have to realize where the linchpin is on many of these things, and it's ultimately the contractor. And we learned that having contractors that are both financially and ethically stable are as important as having contractors that are adept in installation of super efficient systems. The confluence of both of those is great, but that's our model. Our model of NEIF is to provide affordable financing for what we call essential energy improvements to homes and buildings for both. So that covers all the things you might think it covers: heating, cooling, air quality, windows, doors, siding, roofing. As you move into more sophisticated commercial projects, it does involve renewable, it does involve things like that. But when you think about, that's our focus. And now with the entire opportunities coming down, with the federal programs coming into play in 6 months, there is going to be an enormous wave coming, like there was in 2009 after the ARRA funding, of states receiving funds to promote energy efficiency that they're not quite sure what to do with. They can let's do a rebate program. Just think about this: a $15,000 or $20,000 heat pump, and you give somebody $2,000 for a significant rebate, but great, where's the other $18,000 going to come from to pay for that upgrade to a more efficient heat pump, to electrify your home, to do all those things? And that's where we come in. We run programs through contractors, both for residential and commercial improvements, and then we end up being the administrator of most of these state and utility programs that can provide the additional financing. Again, the typical sales process on residential is oh my God, my furnace just blew, or my heat pump just blew, and your contractor comes in and they says, well, yes, Mr. Jones, we have the cheap system for 10,000 and the really okay one for 12,000 and the compliant one for $18,000, and we have special financing through a manufacturer, which is typically offered through a traditional finance company. That's 0% for 6 months and 32% thereafter, and it's not really a tenable solution for long-term energy improvement. So that's where we focused our work on both market-based and program deployment. When you go back, when I say we, I mean our key team has created or did create most of the state and utility financing programs that you might be aware of. And maybe that's an exaggeration, but we were the impetus for most of these programs going forward. And I'll give you an example, like a typical program that we're talking about. As you know, states and utilities are all different, but in New Jersey, we operate, I think, 4 of the utility programs in New Jersey, where Atlantic City Electric, for example, if you're a homeowner in Atlantic City Electric or a building owner, you can get true 0% financing for 7 years for qualifying high efficiency heat pumps and other systems. You go back to, how do you offer 0% financing for a 7-year term? We all know there's no such thing as a free lunch, but we also know that the utilities have funds that can be appropriated to buy the rates down, to create that impetus for a consumer. So that's where we specialize. And when we got involved in Raise Green, we raised our capital. Think of us like a bank, but we're not a bank, but we are a lender, but we are not a depository. So we fund our loans through relationships and forward funding relationships we have with regional banks and investors and other folks. But we are running the program. We are the lender. We are the servicer. We're currently servicing about 10,000 consumer accounts and probably 2,000 commercial accounts that we collect and remit the payments. But we are the administrator for those programs. And we raised our capital through traditional capital venues, but I was very concerned, and Laura and Matthew and I were concerned about keeping our mission pure. So we organized as a B Corp. We organized as a certified B Corp, which is what my version of American capitalism is, which it means like you want to do the right thing, you want to have a good product, you want to make money, right? And you want to take care of people the right way. So we focused on that whole marketplace. And Raise Green, our involvement with Raise Green came about when we realized there were smaller investors other than accredited investors that would like to make investments into the kind of projects that we were doing. So it's been a fantastic relationship. And I don't know, we probably have 500 investors through Raise Green that have made investments, certainly, a large number, but it's all about supporting the programs that allow us to effectuate these both contractor-driven and federal and state programs. We are really poised right now to see a giant influx of money come into states. So again, Matthew and Laura and I are working closely with multiple states right now to be the administrator of those programs. It's a great opportunity. It's a great way to support essential energy improvements because not everybody can do cutting edge stuff. We focus on the essential improvements, and we're very, very happy to have been engaged with Raise Green in everything we do. So thank you.